The rocky expanse of the Sonoran Desert was selected as the physical bedrock for a new era of American industrial manufacturing. This effort centered on an $8.5 billion federal grant initiative, a strategic push to migrate critical semiconductor production back to United States soil. Intel specifically committed to a $20 billion expansion in Chandler, with the promise that the investment would yield 3,000 permanent high-tech positions. This massive commitment of capital established a public expectation of a guaranteed localized boom, positioning the valley as the future hub of domestic technology. But 3 years into the project, the official records at the state level directly contradict the optimism of those early announcements. To find the ground truth, you have to look at the Worker Adjustment and Retraining Notification logs, the government's primary tool for tracking mass corporate layoffs. These ledgers suggest that instead of protecting local jobs, federal subsidies are running parallel to a global corporate restructuring that has hit Arizona workers the hardest. It leads to a central question. How did billions in federal taxpayer support result in a shrinking local workforce? Intel faced significant global financial headwinds during its expansion, which immediately triggered severe downsizing inside its Chandler facilities. In October 2024, a WARN notice documented 385 eliminated positions at West Chandler. By July 2025, a second filing pushed total layoffs over 1,000. Meanwhile, TSMC issued 0 layoff notices, quietly absorbing the engineers Intel let go. However, TSMC faces its own hurdle. A localized shortage of specialists to install cleanroom equipment has delayed production until 2025 or 2026. This creates a structural bottleneck where engineers are squeezed out of one campus and unable to begin work at the other, leaving the workforce trapped in a zero-sum game. The legality of slashing thousands of jobs while receiving billions in subsidies rests on a specific change in the funding rules. In 2025, the federal government pivoted its funding strategy, moving from straight financial grants to an equity stake model. By becoming a shareholder rather than a financier, it effectively voided the original job creation agreements that mandated strict domestic hiring quotas. At the same time, international trade friction and the threat of new tariffs forced these companies to prioritize survival, leading them to freeze headcounts despite the influx of public cash. By shifting to an ownership model, the government prioritized the corporation's global financial health over the specific hiring promises made to the local community. This corporate stagnation is even more striking when viewed against Arizona's rapidly expanding population. Attracted by the narrative of a new industrial hub, 68,500 new residents moved to the state over a single 12-month window. During that same period, the Bureau of Labor Statistics shows that the entire state added just 7,700 net new positions. The math on the ground is a 9-to-1 ratio. For every single job created, 9 new people arrived to compete for it. The marketing of the Silicon Desert successfully lured a massive workforce into a market that is mathematically unable to sustain them. Currently, over 158,000 Arizonans are actively searching for a paycheck in this gridlocked market. If every net new job created last year were filled tomorrow, more than 150,000 of them would still be left without a position. The volume of residents seeking work reveals a system that incentivized massive population growth while failing to secure the permanent industrial roles promised in the initial expansion. For now, the Silicon Desert remains a mirage, a landscape rich in federal subsidies, but missing the chairs needed to support its people.